Here's a shocking truth that will make your blood boil. Last year, two investors each earned $10,000 in dividend income. Investor A paid 0 taxes on every penny. Investor B got hammered with a $3,700 tax bill, losing 37% of their income to the IRS. Same income, same tax bracket, but completely different outcomes. The only difference is that Investor A knew about a legal tax loophole that's been hiding in plain sight, while Investor B fell into the trap that's costing average investors $50,000 or more over their lifetime. What if I told you that JEPI, JEPQ, and SPYI aren't just high-yield ETFs? They're sophisticated tax optimization weapons that wealthy investors have been using to legally slash their tax bills while generating massive monthly income. And what's really shocking is that most investors have no idea this two-tier tax system even exists. Today, I'm going to expose the hidden tax system that's rigged against ordinary investors, and I'll show you exactly how to flip this game in your favor. We're going to start with the basics. How the IRS secretly operates two completely different tax systems for the same type of income. Then, I'll reveal why JEPI, JEPQ, and SPYI are flying under the radar as legal tax shelters. Finally, I'll give you the exact numbers and strategy to choose the right fund that could save you tens of thousands in taxes. But here's the most valuable part. Stick around to the end, because I'm revealing 3 advanced strategies that wealthy investors use to amplify these tax savings by another $100,000 over their lifetime. Let me blow your mind with how the tax system really works, because this is the foundation everything else builds on. The IRS doesn't treat all investment income the same way, but they don't exactly advertise this fact. Think of it like this. Imagine there are 2 checkout lanes at a store. Both lanes sell the exact same products, but lane A charges you 0% to 20% tax, while lane B charges you 22% to 37% tax. Which lane would you choose? That's exactly what's happening with dividend income, except most investors don't even know lane A exists. There are 2 types of dividend income: qualified dividends and non-qualified dividends. Qualified dividends, the VIP lane. These are dividends from established American companies like Apple, Microsoft, or Coca-Cola. Here's the key. The IRS treats qualified dividends like capital gains, not regular income. Let me give you a real example. Meet Sarah and Mike, a married couple filing jointly. They could earn up to $89,250 in qualified dividends and pay absolutely 0 taxes. Not 5%, not 10%, 0. Even if they earn more, they're only paying 15% or 20% maximum, no matter how high their regular income is. Non-qualified dividends, the penalty lane. These are dividends that don't meet the IRS's special rules. They get slammed with ordinary income tax rates, potentially 22%, 24%, 32%, or even 37%. Here's a real-world example that'll make this crystal clear. Let's say both Sarah and her neighbor Tom each received $10,000 in dividends this year. Sarah's dividends are qualified, so she pays 15% tax. That's $1,500. Tom's dividends are non-qualified, so he pays his regular 32% rate. That's $3,200. Same income, but Tom pays $1,700 more in taxes just because he didn't understand the difference. Why this matters for ETF investors? Most high-yield ETFs generate non-qualified income because they use complex strategies like covered calls, REITs, or bonds. The income looks great on paper, but the IRS treats it like a regular paycheck and taxes it accordingly. This is where 99% of income investors get trapped. They chase the highest yield without understanding that what matters isn't what you earn, it's what you keep after taxes. Now here's where these 3 funds completely change the game and why wealthy investors are quietly moving billions into them. JEPI, JEPQ, and SPYI use something called covered call strategy, but they do it in a way that creates what I call the tax arbitrage effect. Instead of generating income just one way, like most ETFs, they generate it 3 different ways, each with different tax treatment. The three income streams are: Stream 1, qualified dividend, 0 to 20% tax. These come from the actual stocks the funds own, companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. Since these are regular dividends from American companies, they qualify for those sweet capital gains tax rates. Stream 2, option premiums. When the funds sell call options, they collect premiums. Here's where it gets interesting. Depending on how these options are structured and settled, some of this income can be tax advantaged. Stream 3, return of capital, 0% immediate tax. This is the secret weapon that most investors don't understand. Return of capital isn't actually income. It's giving you back your own money. The IRS doesn't tax it immediately because technically you're not earning anything new. Think of it like this. Imagine you lent your friend $100 and each month they give you back $10. That $10 isn't income. It's your money coming back to you. That's essentially what return of capital does. Real example of the tax arbitrage effect. Let's say you invest $100,000 in SPYI and earn $11,720 this year. Here's how that income breaks down. The $4,100 in qualified dividends gets taxed at just 15%, costing you only $615 in taxes. The $5,270 in option premiums faces your regular 22% tax rate, adding $1,160 to your tax bill. But here's the magic, that $2,350 in return of capital has absolutely zero immediate tax consequences, essentially giving you tax-free income today. Total taxes, $1,705 on $11,720 income. That's only a 15.1% effective tax rate instead of your regular 22% rate. Compare that to a traditional high-yield fund, where all $11,720 would be taxed at 22%. That's $2,578 in taxes. You just saved $803 in taxes on the same income, and that's every single year. Now let me show you the specific numbers for each fund that explain why smart money is flowing into these investments. Let's start with Jeeppy, the steady performer yielding 7.85% with a 0.35% expense ratio. Jeeppy's tax magic comes from its 40% qualified dividends and 60% non-qualified split. With a $100,000 investment, you'd receive $7,850 in gross income. The qualified portion of $3,140 gets taxed at just 15%, costing $421, while the non-qualified portion of $4,710 faces your 22% rate for $1,036 in taxes. Total tax bill, $1,507, leaving you with $6,343 after-tax income, a solid 6.34% after-tax yield. Jetq takes this further with a 9.93% yield and improved tax efficiency thanks to its Nasdaq focus. The 45% qualified, 55% non-qualified split creates better tax treatment. Your $9,930 gross income breaks down to $4,469 qualified, taxed at 15% is $670. And $5,461 non-qualified, taxed at 22%, it is $1,201. After paying $1,871 in total taxes, you keep $8,059, an exceptional 8.06% after-tax yield. But SPYI is where tax optimization reaches its peak. With an 11.72% yield, SPYI's secret weapon is its three-way split: 35% qualified dividends, 45% non-qualified income, and 20% return of capital. Your $11,720 gross income includes $4,102 in qualified dividends, taxed at 15%, $615. $5,274 in non-qualified income, taxed at 22%, that is $1,160, and $2,344 in return of capital with zero immediate taxes. Total tax bill, just $1,775, leaving you with $9,945, a stunning 9.95% after-tax yield. The long-term wealth impact is staggering. After 10 years with consistent reinvestment, JEPI grows to $167,800, JEPQ reaches $189,400, and SPYI hits $213,600. After 20 years, the gap widens dramatically. Jeeppy at $281,500. JEPQ at $358,900 and SPYI at $456,200. But after 30 years, the numbers are absolutely mind-blowing. JEPI reach at $534,200. JEPQ grows to $891,500, and SPYI explodes to $1,287,600. The difference between SPY and Jeeppy over 30 years. A massive $753,400 in additional after-tax wealth on the same initial investment. That's not just money. That's generational wealth created purely through tax optimization that most investors completely ignore. Now, here's where wealthy investors separate themselves from everyone else. They don't just buy these funds, they strategically place them to multiply the tax advantages. Strategy 1. Tax-advantaged account optimization. These funds in Roth IRAs and the income grows completely tax-free forever. That $100,000 in SPYI becomes $1,478,500 over 30 years with zero taxes. You literally save hundreds of thousands in taxes by using the right account type. Strategy 2. Asset location mastery. Smart investors use all three funds in different account types. JEPI in taxable accounts, JEPQ in traditional IRAs, SPII in Roth IRA. Strategy 3. Tax loss. Harvesting integration. Use any capital losses in your portfolio to offset the non-qualified income from these funds. This effectively converts high-tax income into tax-free income. A sophisticated investor might save an additional $30,000 to $50,000 over their lifetime using this strategy. These three strategies combined can add another $100,000 in tax savings over your lifetime, beyond what the funds already provide. You now possess knowledge that separates wealthy investors from everyone else.